So it is started.
Yeah. Wants to delay it? Is the screen visible to all?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. Is my voice clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, great, beautiful. If you all interact like this, the session will be much more interesting and you will learn a lot when you interact. Be on the camera, try to speak, then only you will be able to learn. If it doesn't, interact. For the last couple of days, I have not used much of the sophisticated words or sophisticated vocabulary. I have not used. Going forward, I will be using the sophisticated words. Then you will find it difficult to understand them. You will find it difficult to catch them. Then you will find it difficult to go along with them. Then what will you do? You will have to interact too if you have to understand the meaning of those things. Right? Okay, guys. So, welcome you all for the day 2 of this IELTS session. Right? We will be continuing with the writing skills. Okay? So, till yesterday, whatever we have learned is the very first day we learned all about the IELTS, its rules, and its requirements, all these sort of things. Yesterday, we learned some tips and certain writing conditions or the writing instructions about the writing skills. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Or did we learn anything else? Okay. So today we will be jumping into understand what are all the important things in English that we have to improve in ourselves if we have to write a good English. Okay? Great. So, the important things that we have to focus here from the writing part of IELTS is about the important grammar aspects. Means, what are the aspects in the grammar? What do they say or what do they mean? That affects on the writing skills. So, can anyone tell me what are the major factors of grammar? Just the cream of it. I'm not going to deep dive into the grammar. I'm not taking classes for any of you here for literature classes. I will not be deep diving. I'll be giving you the only creamy layer now, which is very important and very useful for your IELTS exam, whether it is writing or speaking skills. So the first and foremost thing we have to understand is about what is grammar, right? Then we learn the parts of speech. Then we will learn the functions of certain important parts of speech. We are not going to talk about all the parts of speech here. We will talk only about few parts of speeches which are very important from the point of either reading or writing or speaking skills to understand. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Then, what is grammar? Can someone tell me? Some idea? What do you understand by grammar? Is the grammar only in English? Is it grammar only in English?
No, sir.
No, no. So every language has the grammar.
Yes, sir.
Okay, every language has the grammar. Grammar is the foundation of any language. It is the basics of any language. So, what does a grammar comprise of? Okay, it is a very complex system of any language. Complex means, what is complex?
So difficult,
Poor.
logically
Huh?
complex है वो क्या बोलते हैं लॉजिक लॉजिक के
Logic. Okay,
यस सर
great, good. Anybody else?
Difficult.
Difficult. Mangala, right? Good.
डिफिकल्ट सिंपल भाषा में
Yeah, right. It is very difficult to understand the grammar. It's not that easy because a grammar itself is a very long and a very huge course. If we have to deep dive into grammar, we are not deep diving into grammar, but simply we are taking the cream of it to understand what is grammar and how it is important for us in any language, right? So the grammar comprises of three different parts, or it can be analyzed with three different levels. The first one is the phonology. Phonology means what? Is a set of sounds or symbols. Set of sounds means each word is pronounced differently, right? When we pronounce it differently, the sound generation is also different. And symbols here represent to the punctuations or the periods that we talk in English. It can be comma, full stop, colon, semicolon, right? Or within the quotation, brackets, all these things. Those are called as symbols. So how do we use them in any language? So what difference it makes? So the set of sounds, the pronunciation, the intonations, the rise and fall of the pitch of the sound. Then comes the morphology. So morphology is another important thing in any language. That is the combination of sounds that carry the single unit of meaning. Okay? That means there are certain words which can be pronounced in different way, but it carries the same meaning. Right? As majorly to tell you all, English is widely known as spoken in two major accents. One is the American accent, the other one is the British accent or the UK accent. But when we come to this accent part, the other day, on the very first day, I was giving you certain examples like education, situation, right? Often, nephew, these sort of things. These sort of words falls under the morphology. The reason being, in the British English or the UK English or in the UK version of accent, certain letters are not pronounced, are not said, are not spelled while speaking. So we call them as silent letters or hidden letters. But the same words, when we get into the US version of accent, what will happen is that they pronounce it exactly as the letter is pronounced. So, for example, education, the spelling is EDUCATION. So, when in the British English or the UK version of the accent, we spell it as, or we pronounce it as education. For D, the sound is changed from do to ju, J. But the same thing is spelled as education in the US accent. In the same way, what happens? Situation, SITUATION. So what happens? In the UK English, it is situation. T has changed to chu, that is CH, while pronouncing. The same thing is pronounced as it is, situation, when we spell it out in the American accent. In the same way, often, the spelling is OFTEN. In the British version of accent, it is spelled as T is not spelled. T is not pronounced. There it is pronounced as often. But it's different in the US version. It is pronounced as often. So you should not get into confusion when you get into the listening skills part of it. If the speaker is from the US and if the speaker is reading a conversation, if they spell out education or situation or often or nephew, right? If it is UK version, then it is pronounced as nephew. The same thing if it is a US version, then it is pronounced as nephew because PH is there. NEPHEW is the spelling for that. These are the certain differences. That is the combination of sounds that carry for single unit of meaning. The third integral part of grammar is the syntax. What is syntax? Most of you must be knowing because all of you are used to using the computer. If some of you are from ECE or CE or CS, if you are programming, you get something called as syntax error. Syntax is not. Pardon me, Kana? Ashwini, tell me, beta.
Grammatical.
Syntax is not grammatical, Papa. Syntax is not grammatical. Syntax is arranging the things wrongly or erroneously. It is not in the proper string. It is not in the proper string. If the set of words or if the set of commands are arranged haphazardly or waywardly, then we call it as a syntax error. Right? Now, what happens is that even in the system, if you are typing a Word file or any other file, MS Office, you will not get grammatical error green underline, nor you will get the spelling error red underline, but you will get a blue underline. That blue underline is the syntax error. That means there is something wrong. Some words you have misarranged it. It should have been done. It should have been put somewhere before or somewhere after. Grammatical error is that if you are not using the right grammar, that means if you have to form a sentence, it should be in two forms. The sentence should be in two forms. Either it should be in subject, verb, object, that is called as SVO, right? Subject, verb, object format, or the other way around. It should be in the object, verb, subject format. It cannot be verb, object, subject. Then it becomes grammatically wrong. Or if you write verb, object, subject, then also it becomes grammatically wrong. So, for example, we talk a lot of colloquial English when we talk, when we speak. Hey, lunch. For lunch, only we give the sign of question mark. We don't say, did you have lunch? Whenever most of us send messages on different social media platforms, whether it is Facebook or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal, SMS, whatsoever it is, if you are chatting with the other person, we just write lunch and put a question mark. Then it becomes grammatical error. Syntax error is, have you had your lunch? Instead of putting a question mark, you put an exclamatory mark. Then it becomes syntax error. Is my thing clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Ashwini, now did you understand, Papa, what is the grammatical error and the syntax error?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay. So when we write the things, sentences or words, if we use the wrong symbols or the punctuations, or if we are misplaced the words, then it becomes the syntax error. Okay? Is that clear? Nothing to worry about that. Why I gave you this introduction about these three things is to make you to understand when we write, we should give more attention towards it so that we will not lose our marks and get the lower band. Okay. So what are parts of speech? Okay. How many of you know how many parts of speech are there in English?
Eight.
8. Pakka.
Yes, sir.
Can someone tell me all the 8?
Noun, pronoun, adjective,
Very good.
adverb,
Beautiful.
a pronoun,
Pronoun is gone already.
Preposition, conjunction,
Preposition, conjunction.
conjunction.
Great. Beautiful. What more is left?
adjective,
Adjective is gone.
Injection.
Injection.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
COVID injection. Huh?
No, sir. वो conjunction and injection.
Conjunction or injection, it's not injection. Injection nahi hai wo. That is called as interjection.
अच्छा, interjection.
It is known as
Interjection.
interjection. Okay. And what else is left? There is one more left now. You have told me 7.
Noun, pronoun, verb.
Don't Google and tell me. I will not accept that.
verb.
Verb.
All 8, sir.
Verb, right? Exactly. Verb. You forget any of the parts of speech in English, but don't forget 3 parts of speech in English, which are very important. Very important, even if you are to speak very simply in English. major three parts of speech is noun and pronoun. I make it as one. Noun and pronoun, I make it as one because both are twin brothers, are twin to one another. They replace one another. The second one is the verb. The third one is the preposition. Don't forget the functions of these three things: noun, pronoun, verb, and preposition. Okay. Now let's see how it goes. So the noun, pronoun, noun and pronoun. These are very important because all of you know what does a noun tells about, isn't it? A noun tells us about a person, place, animal, thing, or an idea. I will not deep dive into all this entire definition and types of all these parts of speech because all of you are come very long away from those things. Okay. A noun tells us about a person. Okay. So, sir, how to keep in mind or how to define or how to identify a noun, right? If a word in any sentence is giving you or is telling you or is describing you that that word represents a person or a place, a person or a place or a thing, anything, things, sadhan, or it represents any animal. And finally, the fifth is if it tells us about some ideas or some feelings, then if that word tells us about these five things: person, place, thing, animal, and ideas, then that word is a noun. Then pronoun is very simple. Pronoun is just used in place of a noun. That means to replace a noun, a pronoun is used. Otherwise, your language looks very awkward when we speak or read or write. We cannot repeat the same noun n number of times. So, not to do the repetition, in place of that noun, a particular noun, the pronoun is used. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Sir,
To simplify the things, how to remember these parts of speech is easily. These parts of speech can be compared to the parts of the body very easily. Can be compared with the parts of the body. That is the noun and the pronoun. These two are known as the head and tail of a sentence. These two are known as the head and tail of a sentence. That is noun and pronoun. What does the head part does in a human being? What representation it gives? Can anyone tell me? This part, head part. Every one of you are having head or not?
Yes, sir.
किसको नहीं है? Who doesn't have the head? Right? Okay. Many a times you would have seen on the TV, in the news, right? Or you would have come across live also. Sometimes, some of you might have. A major accident happened on the railway track. The head and the body was clearly smeared to pieces and the body was unidentifiable because the head has gone somewhere ahead and the body was lying somewhere ahead. So the body was not be able to be identified. Because the head is not there, means you cannot identify the person. Can you identify? If I write, say for example, if Mangala is a very good artist, she can draw the picture of anything within 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes. If she writes the beautiful body structure of a person with nice dresses without the head part, can you identify that person? How many of you can identify whose body is that? Hello, kiddos. Are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me, can you identify or not?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, right? Only if there is a head part, you will be able to identify. That's why noun and pronoun, they are known as the head and tail of a sentence. Because every sentence that starts and ends with a noun or a pronoun. That is subject and the object. So that gives the identification of the doer. Then the next important thing is adjective. Right? The adjective, what does this do, adjective? It qualifies the noun and the pronoun, or it tells us about the quality, character, color, size, etc. of a noun or a pronoun. That's why I told adjectives are known as the ornaments of a sentence. Yesterday I was telling you, right? Adjectives are known as the ornaments of a sentence. The ornaments when a person wears looks more handsome, looks more smarter, looks more beautiful, looks more prettier. In the same way, the adjectives that are used in a sentence to qualify the noun or the pronoun either beautifies the sentence or uglifies the sentence. If you are overloaded with ornaments, then it looks very ugly. Right? Then the third and the very important parts of speech is the verb. One should never forget this. That's why verb is known as the heart of a sentence or the soul of a sentence. You cannot make a sentence without a verb. So, verb is very important, on which I'll be talking a bit more in detail, because it's very important for you guys, you people, to understand what is verb, how it is used in the sentences, all these things, right? Verb is nothing but it tells us about the action and the state of the action in that particular sentence. A verb is an action word. Then straight away then comes to adverb. This adverb qualifies the verb and the adjective. This qualifies the verb and the adjective. That means what type of action is being done and how that action is being done, all this sort of thing, the adverb qualifies it. Then these three, that is the preposition, conjunction, and the interjection. Right? Preposition, conjunction, and the interjection. These three parts of speech are known as the joints of a sentence. Right? like there are joints in the body. If there were to be no joints in the body, all of us would have become the robot. We wouldn't have been be able to bend, or we wouldn't have been be able to rotate our hands, neck, anything. Because of that flexibility, the joint gives the flexibility to rotate it forward or backward. That flexibility is given in the same way. Preposition, conjunction, and interjection, either they are known as the joints of a sentence. That means either they join two words or two sentences or two clauses or two subclauses, whatsoever it is. Right? Prepositions, they are used to link two nouns in a sentence. To link two nouns in a sentence. Nothing else. Or it tells us the position of a noun in the sentence. And the conjunctions, they join. It can be two words, two sentences, two clauses, or any of the two things. Then the final interjection, they are used to express the deep feelings. Either it can be your joy, or it can be your sorrow or sadness, whatsoever it is, or some what do you call it as a surprise. It can be anything. So to express those things, the feelings, express the deep feelings of a person, the interjections are used. Is it clear about the parts of speech?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Shall we go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, so this is a basic understanding about the parts of speeches. What does it do? That's what I explained to you with those pictorials. Noun tells us about a person, place, animal, thing, and an idea. Pronoun, it substitutes a noun. Verb, it tells about the action and the state. Here the state means the state of the action, whether it has already happened or it is happening still or it is going to happen. So that's where the tenses comes into play. The major part is verb. Then the adjectives, the adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
If any one of you want to take a pic of it or want to take
Yes,
a
sir.
screenshot of it and keep it, you can take it. Okay. Quickly, going forward, I'm going to okay. Let me see, it's not working. Okay, I'll work on it later. Then we are going into the main thing that is important for us in English, that is the verb. So, what are the things that are there in the verb that one has to understand to identify the things and to use the right verb in the right manner? The first thing is the kinds of verb every one of us should understand. What are the kinds of verbs? Right? There are three kinds. That is the auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs. Then the action verbs. The action verbs are the actual verbs which we know, which defines an action. Auxiliary verbs are also known as the helping verbs in certain places. They are also known as, in certain places, they are known as supporting verbs. And in certain places, as you go in the higher level of English, they are also called as the agreement verbs. Then the modal verbs. Then comes the types of verbs. How many types are there? There are two types. One is the regular, the other one is the irregular verb. Then the forms of verb. This is very important. If you doesn't understand the forms of verb clearly, then what happens is that you will not be able to frame the sentences in the right manner. Clear? The forms of verb are present, past, participle, and continuous. That is, both this present and past, as a prefix to it, it is called as the simple. Simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous it will be. So, what we call as V1, V2, V3, and V4. Present is V1, past is V2, participle is V3, and continuous is V4. Normally, people doesn't give much attention towards this V4. That is the continuous form, because this is common form. This is the common form, which is commonly used for all the 6 aspects of a continuous tense, whether it is a simple continuous tense or a perfect continuous tense. Verb will be in the same form, that is in the continuous form. It is also known as ing form or ing form. Now, what are the action verbs? That tells us about the action in the sentence and what is the action that is happening. That is, what is the thing that is going on? What is the thing that is taking place in a statement or in a sentence or in an interrogation, whatsoever it may be. Then the auxiliary verbs, these are also known as helping verbs or the supporting verbs. So, a set of auxiliary verbs which are commonly used, which are very often used in the regular usage of English are is, am, and are. Whereas is and am, these two are in singular, and are is plural. These are used in the framing of sentences in the present tense. Then was and were. This is not were. R is not pronounced. So why I am telling you this, why I am giving you this tip is when you get into that speaking skills test, don't spell it as were. It is not were. R is not pronounced. It is were. Was and were, these are used for the creation of sentences in the past tense. Then be and been. These are also known as be verbs. In some places, they call it as be verbs. So, be and been, these are mostly used in the future tense. Framing of sentences in the future tense, though at certain times or at certain circumstances, these two verbs can be used as an action verb also. Then comes the have, has, and had. Again, same like is and am. Have and has. These two are used in the present tense, whereas have is used both in present tense as well as in future tense. But has, it is used only in the present tense. When? I'll let you know. Then had, it is used for the past tense. It is used for past tense. So, these three verbs are used while framing a sentence in the perfect tense aspect. The aspect is the perfect tense. It can be present perfect or past perfect or even future perfect. So, when we make sentences or when we frame sentences in the perfect aspect, then have, has, and had are used. Right? Then comes the modal verbs. So, again, this is another important thing one has to understand very clearly why these modal verbs are so important. At certain times, these modal verbs are the makers or the breakers of certain sentences. So, there are 9 modal verbs. They are will, shall, can, may. If you remember these 4, the rest 4 will be easy to remember. That is, if you start from the first thing, will, shall, can, and may. Then the past of these things, that is would, should, could, and might. So that comprises 8, and the other one is ought to. Ought to is also a modal verb. What does all these things do, when it should be used? Especially these, these 4, will, shall, can, and may. And in that, shall, can, and may, what are their usages? When they can be used? What are their functions? These are very important. So that I will clearly segregate and explain to you when we get into tenses. Then let us move on to the types of verbs, the regular verbs and the irregular verbs. The regular verbs are those which end with either D or ED in their past tense form. When we frame the past tense of a verb, that is V2 form, those words end with by adding ED or D to the original verb, that is to the V1 form, or it won't change, it remains the same. And if you see in the extended form of it, when we compare V1, V2 and V3, then V2 and V3 will be the same. They will not change. V2 and V3 will be same. Or V1, V2, V3 will all the three will be the same thing. They will never change. So then it is a regular verb. Like certain examples it has been given here. Key like work. Work, worked, worked. We add ed to it. Work becomes worked for V2 and even for V3 it becomes worked. In the same way, look becomes looked, log becomes logged. So ed is added to these words. Whereas this cut, shut and all, they never change. It is not cutted or shutted or putted. It is the same even in the past tense or in the present tense. That is, cut remains as cut, shut remains as shut. Then the irregular verbs. Irregular verbs means, okay, V1 and V2 will be different. They will not be the same. They varies. V1 and V2 will be of two different types. That is one set of understanding. The second set of understanding is that in the irregular verbs, either V2 and V3 can be the same, or in certain cases, V1 and V3 can be the same. I repeat again. In the irregular verbs, they are not ending with D or ED. V1 and V2, that means the form in the present tense and the form in the past tense are different. Entirely different. But V3 can be entirely different. It can be totally a different word, or V3 can be the repetition of V2, or it can be the repetition of V1. So for example, go. So when we use the verb go, in the past tense, that is V2, we say it as went. Go, went. The third form, that is V3 form, that is the participle form, it becomes gone. Go, went, gone. All the three are different. In the same way, if it is come, come is V1. So when it comes to, it is not comed or it is not camed. I have come across these words being used in with many corporate employees. They use a lot of this type of words. They came to my house. It is not came to my house, it is came. Come becomes came. And when you get into that V3 form, the third form, again it is the repetition of V1, come. That's where most of us get confused when we make the perfect tenses. Because in the perfect tense, always, whichever may be the perfect tense, whether it is a present perfect or a past perfect or a future perfect, the verb, that is the action verb that is used, is always V3 form. And in the same way, when we make sentences in the passive voice, if the sentence is in the passive voice, whether it is present tense or past tense or future tense, the verb that is used will always be in the V3 form. That's why we find it difficult to negotiate which tense is this. The reason being, say for example, go, went, gone. I have gone, I had gone, I would have gone, I will have gone, I shall have gone. In the same way, if you replace go with come, then it will become as I will come, I would have come, I shall have come, I could have come, I had come. So the come remains the same. So when it becomes I have come or I had come, which is the present tense and which is the past tense? That identification one should understand. That's why I said verb is a very, very, very important and a very critical part of speech to understand. As long as you doesn't understand the verb in the right manner, then the entire drama gets spoiled in the language of English. Is that clear? Any doubts in this particular thing?
No, sir.
Please be open to learn about verb. I am telling you. Right? Okay, great. If there is no doubts,
No, sir.
right, fine. Then the forms of verb, as I told you, V1, V2 and V3, that is the simple present, simple past or past participle. These are known as present, past or participle also. That is V1, V2, V3. V4, I told you it is the continuous form or the ing form or V4. So work will become working, look will become looking, walk will become walking. Just you add ing to V1, it becomes V4. You see the work, work, work. So this way, you see walk, 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 bore, board, board. You see the word get, got, gotten. There are certain words, certain verbs rather, which have two different things. Sometimes they act as regular verbs, sometimes they act as irregular verbs. Like the verb learn and get. So in American English, they use gotten. But in British English, they use got. So it can be get, got also, or it can be get, got, gotten also. In the same way, if the verb is learn, that is not pronounced as learn, it is pronounced as learn. One more tip, make a note of it. Whenever or is in the beginning of a sentence, of a word, or the second letter of a word, only then it is pronounced completely. Or is pronounced completely. If it comes in the middle of the word, if the or is in the middle of the word, then or should be pronounced only 50%, half pronunciation. It should not be pronounced full. It is not permanent, it is permanent. Half is or is pronounced half here because it comes in the middle of the word. If the same or comes at the end, then it is pronounced very much partially, very little. I get bored. We were bored. It is not bore. So these tips, if you keep in mind, then your pronunciation automatically becomes more good and good. So as I was saying, learn, learned. It becomes learn is Learn, learned Learned, and Learned will be V3 also. Then it is a regular verb, which is used in the American English. The same word learn becomes an irregular verb when it comes to British English. It is then said as learn, learned, and learned. Learnt. So these are few words that makes a lot of difference. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Great. Then the modal verbs. As I was telling you, modal verbs are very important. You should understand because these are the 8 words we normally use. We often use them. The first thing is the can. So, what is the concept for can? Or when do we use this? Or under what circumstances? Or what does its function? So, can tells us about the ability of a person. If we have to tell about an ability of a person or an animal, whatsoever it is, of a noun, the ability of a noun, then can is used. That means Ramesh can swim. Megha cannot swim. So that tells us about the ability. Ravi Kumar, when we say can I come in, it is not the ability, then it becomes as the request. I'm coming to that. Right? Great. Beautiful, Ravi Kumar. Nice attempt made. So it tells us about the ability. Then when we have to use the permission or when we make requests, right? When we seek permission, we make request. So if we are making a request or we are seeking some permission, we use can. Like, can I come with you? Instead, you can use the shall also, you can use may also. Shall I come with you or may I come with you? Can I help you? Shall I help you? May I help you? Can I come in? May I come in? Shall I come in? But what is the difference? When should we use it? That is more important. The circumstance or the situation or the time, at what time we are using this can or shall or may. Then when we are making some offers or offering our help or offering our services, then we use can. Like most of you would have seen, can I help you? Or may I help you? Shall I help you? Then the could. It tells us about the possibility. Possibility means 50-50. हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है. It can happen or it cannot happen. It may happen or it may not happen. It shall happen or it shall not happen. The story could be true. Who knows? He couldn't have done it. But I don't know. 50-50 chances. Then it tells us about the past ability. That means if we are using the could to explain someone's past abilities, that means the ability in the past tense that has displayed when they were young. So you see, you can say that Naushad could swim when he was just 4 years old. But now he is 40 years old, he cannot swim. Is that so? No. He can swim now also. The thing is that the past ability, when he was 4 years old, in that younger age itself, he could swim. So why can't he swim now? He's a very good swimmer. Then to seek permission, could I use your mobile, please? Could I check your dictionary, please? Could I take your dictionary, please? These are the things. Then for making some requests, could you tell me the way to the railway station, police station? Could you tell me the way to Oxford College? Could you tell me the way to the nursing college in the Oxford University? Could you tell me the way to the management department of the Oxford University? So, making requests. May, again, it tells us about the possibility. Again, 50-50. May also gives us about the possibility, then the thing goes this way. The MD may come to our office if the meeting finishes before 5 p.m. MD may come to office. The principal may come to college if the meeting finishes before 5 p.m. If it goes beyond 5 p.m., he will not come. But no one knows at what time the meeting is going to end. Then the permissions. May I come in? May I borrow your dictionary? May I borrow rupees 500 from you? Making request. Then might. See the difference between may and might. May and could. It gives the possibility of half chance, 50-50. But whereas might, it gives a very light or slight possibility, very little possibility. That means chances of not coming or not doing is more. So the same thing, we might win a prize, but I doubt it. India might win the World Cup. Still I doubt, because the Australians are the strong opponents, or the New Zealanders are the strong opponents. So, little possibility. Then it can be used as the past form of may also. When it is used as the past form of may, when we make the sentences in the indirect speech or the reported speech. MD said he might come to office if the meeting finishes before 5 p.m. So here it is in the reported speech format. MD said he might come. Is it clear? Any doubt here? Any clarifications?
No, sir.
Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Then we'll go with should. Again, should is normally most of the time. It is used to give advice or some logical deductions, or at times should is used to give the soft orders, to give the mild orders, or the soft orders, or the mild command, or the soft command. Should is used. So how does the advice goes? You should take an umbrella in case it rains. You should take an auto. You might get late. You might take the flight. So that way, you should take a flight in case you are in a hurry. You can give the advice. Or how the mild order or the soft orders, mild command or the soft command is given. Normally, the parents or the teachers or the faculties normally tells this. But none of us understand that it is an order or it is a command. Or it can be an advice. We never take it in that sense. That is, Amit, you should do the assignments in the given time. So you should do the assignments, you should complete the assignments in the given time. It's an order, mild order. So what is the after effect of it? Else you will fail in the internals. Else you will fail in the internals. Otherwise you will not be promoted to the next year, because you are not got through in the internals. It is a mild order. The same thing if you want to make it as a hard or a mandate order, then we use the word will have to or must. You must do the assignment or you will have to complete the assignment. Then it becomes a very stringent order or a very strong order. So that is the difference. The logical deductions. The logical deductions is that key. Instead of doing the whole set of a thing, we just do the things with a paraphrasing. That is logical deductions. That means instead of doing the entire thing, we do little bit, but the work is complete. That means it has a logical meaning in it. It has a logical reason for that. That is called as logical deductions. So, for example, I have written here an example. I have revised, so I should be ready for the test or I should be ready for the exam. I have revised. Right? So, when do we do it? At the fag end of the year. The entire year, what we do? We do the complete study in detail. At the fag end of the year, we do revise. That is called as the revision classes. There, the entire lesson is not dealt with by the faculties, or even you will also not go through the entire lesson in detail. You just revise. You just see what is important, more important. You just go through that and you skip the rest of the things. Because there is a logical deduction in that, because the entire thing is not required for the exam. We revise only the things that are important from the point of view of exam. That is what is logical deductions. Then ought to is also same like should, but normally ought to is very less used by the Britishers. Ought to is the word which is most of the time used by the Australians, New Zealanders, and the Americans, and especially Canadians. So it is also same as we use should. It gives advice and logical deductions. Then comes the shall and will. Very important. Be attentive here. Shall, it is used as an. Right? Shall is used as a helping verb or a supportive verb in the future tense when the sentence is made with the first person being the subject. That is I and we. If you are making a sentence in the future tense where the subject is either first person, I or we, that means either it can be singular or plural, then shall is the right word grammatically to be used to make the future tense. Nevertheless, nowadays, usage is becoming very obsolete. People, instead of using shall, they use the word will. I shall go to college tomorrow, or I shall not go to college tomorrow. Instead, what we use is I will not go to college tomorrow. So when you replace shall with will in the first person, then that sentence will not be a future tense sentence. It will become a confirmatory sentence. It will become a confirmatory sentence. That is why we have to be very careful. If the sentence has the subject as the first person, then shall must be used for making it in the future tense. Otherwise, if you get stuck legally somewhere, you are liable to be punished. When you say, I will pay you 500 rupees after a month, and you are not paid, somebody goes to court, you are punishable. Because it becomes a promissory note because you have said that I will pay. It has become a confirmatory sentence now. But your intention was different. You wanted to make the sentence in the future tense that I shall pay rupees 500 after a month. So if you would have used I shall pay you 500 rupees after a month, then it is not a confirmatory sentence. It is a future tense. In the same way, for second and third person, that is you is the second person and the third person he, she, it and they. If you use shall, then that sentence will tell the probability it will not become the future tense. He shall go to market means it is not the future tense sentence. It tells the probability of the person. He shall go to market. जा भी सकता है, नहीं भी जा सकता है. You shall do this work means either you can do it or you cannot. I don't know. It is your choice. But if you want to make that in the future tense, then it is will. You will go to market or he will go to market tomorrow morning or he will go to duty at 2 p.m. tomorrow as he is in the second shift. He shall go to, if you make it instead of will, then it becomes probability. He shall go to office tomorrow at 2 p.m. for second shift. Means he might go to second shift or he might not go to second shift. Don't know. The probability. So will and shall, and especially if you want to become a journalist or an advocate, or if you are writing any competitive exam, if you are writing some banking exam, if you are writing some UPSC exam, or if you are writing any other KPSC exam, in the English, or if you want to become a columnist, you want to write some columns in a newspaper or in a magazine, if you are writing the sentence in future tense with the subject as first person, then the future tense should be in I shall. Even in IELTS, in the writing skills, if you use I will, you will lose the band. For future tense, it should always be I shall. And for the rest, second and third person, it should be I will. And will can also be used for inviting people. So for offering some invitations or some offers. Like, will you join me for lunch today? Will you join me in the party today? Will you accompany me to Delhi next month? So it is an offer or it is an invitation we offer. Is it clear?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Then the articles. There are two kinds of articles. Articles are not parts of speech, my dear friends. Articles are the demonstrative adjective. They are not parts of speech. If you Google out, in some cases, you will find article being included in the parts of speech and pronoun missing, because they take it as pronoun is the substitution of noun. Noun and pronoun are same. So they sometimes pronoun missing and you will find article in place of pronoun as the eighth part of speech. No. Or in some instances, they will show there are 9 parts of speech instead of 8. They will include articles as a part of speech, which is totally wrong. Don't go with the wrong things. Article is a demonstrative adjective. So the two kinds of articles are the definite article and the indefinite articles. And where are these articles used? These articles are used to refer or to direct or to point towards a singular countable noun only. Underline this word. Singular countable noun. There are countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Most of you know that. What is countable? The nouns that can be counted. Uncountable, which cannot be counted. Countable, all the things like pen, paper, pencil, people, all these things can be counted. Uncountable, like grains, rice, dal, money, all these things cannot be counted. Water cannot be counted. Any liquid cannot be counted. But they can be counted with the help of their measures or their containers or their volume or the mass. They cannot be counted individually. Students can be counted individually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But grains, rice grain, you cannot count 1 rice, 2 rice, 3 rice, 4 rice. They can be counted with respect to their mass or with respect to their volume. So those are uncountable nouns. Articles cannot be used for uncountable nouns. Articles cannot be used for plural nouns. That means when the nouns are in the plural form. So very simple, articles are used to refer or to represent a singular countable noun. Very simple. There are two kinds. One is the definite article, the other one is the indefinite article. The indefinite articles are a and an. Indefinite articles are a and an. A is used to refer or represent a noun that begins with a consonant, or sounds with a consonant. When we pronounce it, the sound begins with a consonant. That means a table, a chair, a car. What are there are two categories of letters in the English alphabet, the vowels and consonants. Vowels are A, E, I, O, U. There are 5. Of course, Y is also counted as the semi-vowel. But nevertheless, it is counted in the consonants. A, E, I, O, U. These 5 letters are the vowels. If we remove them, rest B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. These 21 letters are the consonants. Whenever a word or a noun begins with these 21 letters, or when we pronounce it, it sounds with the beginning of these words, then A is used. A table, a pencil, a car, a chair, a person, a student, all these things. At the same time, vowel is used, but when we, as the first letter, but when we pronounce it, the sound refers to the consonant, that is a unit, a university, a one way. These sort of things. There, though the first letter of the word is a vowel, U or O, they are not, an is not used, A is used. Similarly, an is used wherever a noun or a word begins with a vowel, or if the word has begun with a consonant, but when we pronounce the sounds with the vowel, then it is used as an. It begins with a consonant, but when we pronounce, the sound begins with a vowel. Like an apple, an orange, an ink pot, an ice cream, an egg, an umbrella. At the same time, an R. Here H is silent. When we pronounce an R, it is not hour. Ha is not pronounced, though the spelling is H-O-U-R. In the same way, honest, it is not a honest, it is honest. An honest judge is an honest person. It was an honest decision. It was an honest judgment. So like that it goes. Then the definite article is the. The is used whenever we are representing to a very particular noun. Only then the is used. No article should be used with a proper noun. Always mind you, no article should be used with a proper noun until and unless if that proper noun is not in a group. If the proper noun is not in a group. If the proper noun represents to the group of nouns, then the, that is the definite article, must be used. Here it must be used. You cannot ignore. That is why when we say the United States, it is not only United States. I went to United States and came back. Wrong. You are grammatically wrong. You will lose the marks. I had been to United States last year. I stayed there for 6 months and I came back. Wrong. I went to the United States. I went to the US. I went to the UK. I went to the USSR. At the same time, the must be used whenever you take the names of, though the names of mountains, rivers, plateaus, all these things, or though they are in the proper noun, you must use the definite article the. For example, the Himalayas, the Kaveri, the Ganges, the Yamuna, the Brahmaputra, the Eastern Ghats, the Western Ghats, the Everest, the Kanchanajunga, the Nilgiris. You should not forget that. Right? Any doubts so far? Let me see where you will find the doubts to be asked. So this ends today's session. Thank you so much for all of you to be here. Now, can you come on the video and start asking the doubts? Or if you want any clarifications, either in the verb or in the articles or in the modal verbs. These are the three areas where you must be having certain doubts. If you don't ask it today, I will not clarify it going forward when we go to writing exercises. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So what is the doubt today, Amit?
No, sir.
You don't have doubt?
No.
Okay. Ashwini?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Pooja RK. Are you there, beta? No doubt, Pooja.
No.
No. Okay. Ramya SJ. Any doubt? Ramya, are you there? Hello? Ramya, are you there? I can't hear you. Okay, Mangala.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any doubt?
Sir, can you tell one more sentence using out? OUGHT.
Out nahi beta, that is called as art.
Out. Okay.
Okay, art too. Right, very good, beautiful. That's why I told you that you should be having doubts in these areas. Art too is used to make the logical deductions. Logical means which has certain strong reasons that which could be understood as proven. You ought to take an auto in case you are finding it late. Right? That means instead of going by a bus or something else, you ought to take an auto, or you ought to take a cab. You ought to take a flight. Means there is a logical deduction. In the same way, 100 rupees is ought to be enough for the auto. That means if you are going to a certain place, just going there and coming back in an auto, where you doesn't want to carry your wallet. Wallet means purse or your money bag. 100 rupees is ought to be enough. That means to go and come back, 100 rupees is too much. That makes sense because you need not carry your entire wallet in which you would be having thousands of rupees. So this actually ought to is mostly used with the Americans and the Australians. Britishers, they use it very sparingly. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Yes, Ravi Kumar, do you have any doubts? Mitali ma'am, have you shared the feedback link? Ravi Kumar, can you speak? Or you are having some problem with the mic? Okay, now, if you... Okay, Ravi Kumar, got it. Thank you. Can someone tell me, when is shall used, when is may used, when is can used? To make request or to seek permission or to make offers. Can I come in? Shall I come in? May I come in? May I help you? Can I help you? Shall I help you? Sounds same, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, even may is requesting Ravi Kumar. Can is also requesting only. Can I come in, sir? Is a request. May I come in, sir? It's a request. May I help you? Is an offer. Shall I help you? Is an offer. Can I help you? Shall I drop you? Can I drop you? May I drop you? It's an offer. So what is the difference? Or when should we use it? Or when we should not use it? All of you said you have understood everything. Fine, sir. When should we use it and when we should not use it? How this may go grammatically wrong? If you are writing an essay, being all of you are students, if the essay is given to discuss about a scenario or a scene where you had a discussion with the dean of the college or the principal of your college, or with the HOD of your department, you are writing an essay, if you replace may with shall or can, then you are grammatically wrong. You will be losing the points. Or the other way around. Instead of may, if you are using shall or can, or instead of can, if you are using shall or may, you are grammatically wrong. And there is a syntax error also in this. So when do we use it? Okay, this is the assignment for all of you for tomorrow. right? I'll put it in the, what is that, Google Classroom. I want your answers by 3 p.m. tomorrow. Mitali ma'am, hello.
Yes, sir.
I hope you have already put that link in the chat box, right? Feedback
Yes,
chat.
sir. Yes.
Okay. Please make a note. The assignment. The student should find out the difference between may, can, and shall, and submit me the answer by tomorrow 3 p.m.
Okay, sir. We can put it down.
Yeah, just put it in the classroom. Okay,
Yes.
and the submission time is 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay, absolutely fine.
Right, kiddos? Ravi Kumar is saying something. He's not able to use his mic. Okay. Okay, now let us see how many of you have filled the, what is that, feedback form, the attendance. How many of you are there?
I have
Two.
received only one response, sir.
Hello, kiddos. Doing, sir. Mangala is doing. Yes. Yeah, just like yesterday. Put it on the chat box. Let me read. Who else is doing? Okay, Ravi Kumar done. Very good. Great, Ravi Kumar. Good. Nice. Pooja, have you done it, beta? Akshwini doing. Amit Kumar done. Good. Who is that? Ashwini, sir. Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
Ravi, your
No, sir.
response is yet to get received, yet to receive.
Ravi Kumar, your feedback form is not received. Just check it again or do it once more.
Today I have shared another link.
Okay.
Guys, I will be putting the link again. Just
Then
give me
just
a
share it
moment.
again.
Yes.
Mangala, have you done with the feedback beta? Showing network problem. Okay. Ravi Kumar, when your network gets stabilized, please fill it because it is the attendance link. We have to send this to the college authorities. Right? Good. Shanta, have you done it, beta? Shanta, are you there? People, those who are not responding, that means you people are not here. You are just logged in and walked away.
Sir, can I speak something?
Yes, ma'am. Jesse, ma'am, please, please.
Yes, sir. The thing is that I just need a clarification.
Yes, ma'am, please.
The thing is that you have taught about the ought to.
Pardon me?
Ought to.
Yeah,
in model
ought to.
auxiliary verbs.
Yeah.
Usually, model auxiliary verbs are 8 only. Ought to, we were using dare to, need to, we were using in olden English. And
Yeah.
as we follow British English, we are not using ought to. And ought to, when you see, it is only a semi model auxiliary verb. It's not
Yeah,
a model auxiliary verb.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. Very true.
Yeah.
But to keep it simple and make it easy for the participants to understand,
Okay, sir.
right? So it is normally we use it for making the logical deductions. Wherever we see that something needs to be told, where we cut short of something and we bring the deductions in a logical way,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yes.
So that time normally Britishers, they doesn't use it, very sparingly they use this in the British English, ought to.
Yes, sir.
But most of the Americans, especially the Australians, they make use of this. They make you very less use of might,
Yes, sir.
right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you, ma'am?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you. I thought I may not be audible due to some network issue or something like that. So that's why what happens, because when it comes to the IELTS or TOEFL or PTE, students should understand whether I should use might or I should use ought to. If a participant has planned to go to Australia or the US, then what happens is that whenever they use might, there the chances of getting the band on a lower note is more chances are there. So there it is very important for them to make use of this ought to. But as far as the UK and other parts of the thing is concerned, might is most of the time used and ought to is very sparingly used, especially in the South Asian countries. And even Southeastern Asian countries also, because they were all, though America and Australia, they were under the colonial rules, because they follow their own language, because it is their native language, English, which is as an accent of Latin to it, added to it. And they make use of those things. That's where they use the word ought to, and they go with the literal pronunciation as the letters tells it. They are not much influenced as far as the accent and the usage of words are concerned, though they were under the colonial rule. But rest of the Asian countries, they are influenced by the Britishers' pronunciation or the accent and the way they were using the language. There is a very small difference.
Okay, sir.
Hope I have answered your doubt.
Yes, I got it, sir. Sir, I would like to know regarding the wood, wood.
Yeah.
Wood, regarding wood, you have not explained a lot.
Didn't I? Okay, I'll check back and do it tomorrow. If in that case, if I not touched wood, I'll do it tomorrow. No worries.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll do that. No worries. No worries. Yes, ma'am. Anything else? No, that's not the feedback I wanted, so that even I can also improve, so that the students are not deceived by me. They get the maximum learnings and make use of it, and they get upskilled and come up in a better way in their life. So your critic feedback would be a very positive thing for me.
Sir, I just asked. I had
No, ma'am. No, it's not a question of. It can be your doubt also, or even your, like you told, I have missed wood. Might be so. It due to some overlooking would have happened, which can never be denied, right? So that also makes me to correct myself. I never take any feedback in a negative aspect. I'm a very positive way, because I do a lot of spiritual trainings, meditation, pranayama, and all those things. I am a member with ISKCON. I am a spiritual preacher also. So seldom I take things on negative part. So not to worry about that at all. Right? I welcome a lot of critical things so that I can improve myself. Tomorrow when I deliver some other session, the same mistake will not happen from me. It's a beautiful thing I learned now. Okay. Yes, any other doubts other than the assignment? Friends?
No, sir.
No.
Students, you have any doubts, please ask.
If not, okay, someone has written some chat. I couldn't read that. So you've done today, wonderful session. Thank you, Ravi Kumar. Okay, many people are done with the thing, Mega ma'am. Just check how many feedback you have got. Some five, six people.
Yes, sir. I have received everyone's feedback except Ramya's feedback is not there.
Ramya, are you there, beta?
She has just submitted. She has just submitted.
Okay. Then you would
All
have got
done, sir.
everyone's. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you
Jessie,
so
ma'am.
much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you,
is
sir.
a wonderful.
It was a wonderful session.
Yeah, it was nice interacting with you. It was a pleasure for me.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
Mitali, ma'am.